Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, a hearty good morning to you on this Football Friday and Ryder Cup Friday, too. Yeah, baby. We got lots to get to today. And the United States gets absolutely skunked in the morning session. Oh, my God. We have some thoughts on that. And our good friend John Gerber, PGA Pro, who joined us yesterday with a little bit of a preview, will join us as well to tell me what the hell happened. Right now, we're in the middle of the second foursomes matches going on right now, and the U.S. is making a bit of a comeback, and they desperately need to, or they are going to get embarrassed over there in Italy. So we'll get to that right off the top. We got Rays to talk about as well. My good friend James Petrarca from Fox Sports, who's covered the Bucs the last couple of weeks, will join us at 10:30. Samar Ali, our good friend with Loose Cannons, at 11:30, and Pat Burnham at 11 o'clock to kind of relive and recap that Clemson win for FSU and kind of look at where the program is right now heading into the rest of the season. And, of course, we got big news in the Lightning world with Andre Vasilevskiy getting back surgery. Yikes, and being out for at least the first 2 months of the season. So I'll say good morning to you, Peter Blake. That's a full slate here on a Friday and lots of football to talk about as well. Bucs and Saints coming up this weekend. Doesn't get much bigger than that for us. What's going on, partner?
What's going on, buddy? Good morning. And, some surprising news yesterday with Vazzy. I tell you right now, that's not a good start to the hockey season, the first 2 months at all. But good morning to you.
Yeah, it's not. And there's not a whole lot behind Vasilevskiy right now. Brian Elliott, of course, is retired. We might need to get him to unretire because he was a pretty damn good backup for the Lightning last year. But at 38 years old and has already called it quits, it would be probably very hard to get him back into shape to come back and play for 2 months. So they're going to go with 28-year-old Jonas Johansson, who has been a part of 3 organizations, Colorado, Buffalo, and who's the other one? Whatever. He's in his numbers have not been great, quite frankly, with a 885 save percentage in 30-some games. Not great. 886 save percentage, 335 goals against. Yeah, that's not great hockey. Now, the last year with the Avs, he did play 2 games with the Avs last year, hopefully getting better, was 2-0 with a 2.10, 933 save percentage, so much better. But that's just a 2-game sample size compared to a 30-game sample size. Obviously, goaltenders get better with age. He's 6'5", he's 220, he's a big goalie. But can he handle the pressure of being a number one for the first time in his career? We don't know. And behind him, Matt Tompkins, who has never played in an NHL game, has played the last couple of years in Sweden with some decent numbers, but still hasn't played NHL hockey. So that's not a whole lot of NHL experience to throw out for a would-be Stanley Cup contender for the first 2 months. Now, obviously, you're not going to win the cup in the first 2 months, but you can certainly lose it. And if they fall too far behind and end up having to chase points in the entire season, that's no good. But all you got to do is get in the tournament, right? All you got to do is get in. Seeding doesn't matter that much as far as the NHL goes. We've seen that over the years. So is the season over? No, absolutely not. Am I concerned at age 29, the best player, the best goalie in hockey is having back surgery? Yes. Now the Lightning are downplaying it. It's not that big a deal. It was, it wasn't major back surgery. So I'm guessing more of, less invasive, surgery, not cutting through the back muscles or anything like that. So they probably went in there and just gave him a little bit of room on that herniated disc, and hopefully he'll recover fully and be back to his same self. He's an elite athlete. Everybody who has back surgery is never the same, but we're not elite athletes. We don't have the flexibility of an Andre Vasilevskiy. So I see a lot of that on on Twitter. Well, no, you're never the same after. Well, okay, but
Right.
you're not Andre Vasilevskiy. So
Correct.
But that being said, this is never a good thing to have back issues for an elite athlete at 29 years old. These things tend to linger, and they don't necessarily get better with time. But we'll see. You look at Andre Vasilevskiy at 29 in his prime, the best in the game, and you would hope that he could play for another, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. Goalies can play that long and be really, really good. This may put a little bit of chink in that. You just don't know. So it's I'm not going to freak out about it. But there's certainly, you don't have a Brian Elliott sitting there behind him ready to go. You don't. That's a problem. Will Brisebois go out and get somebody? He said that's not in the plans right now, that these guys are, they brought him here for a reason. They see a lot of potential in them. Okay. I'm certainly going to trust Brisebois. I'll also say he's not going to come out and publicly say, we're pushing the panic button and we got to go find somebody, not the way you want to be. You don't want to be calling people at other organizations. Go, you need to go. Oh, I got to go into it. No, so I mean, he's gonna say that, right? He has to say that,
right?
So it is what it is. And
is there anybody out there that you would consider for them to go after? And I get it. There's restrictions with the cap.
Yeah,
still lost player, right? And the off season. So, is there anybody out there that you would consider at this point? Because you work with them, Lightning Vision, and
Yeah, I mean, there's some names floated out there. We could go through a half a dozen of them, but they're all the same guy, right? They're all the same. There's no saviors out there right now. There's experienced goalies out there that they could go get. Probably none better than the other, right? And there's backups out there but you got to, what are you going to, you're going to go give up something significant to get a backup? These teams aren't like, oh, sure, we'll help you out.
Right. Right.
No, they're not doing that. They're going to want a high draft pick or some compensation of some type. And the Lightning really aren't in a position right now to be giving away draft picks or any compensation. They've depleted a lot of their roster to go out and get the guys that they have on their roster now, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with any of that. You're in a window where you have a great core of players. Go win now. I don't, F the draft picks. I couldn't care less.
Right.
So I think what I see the Lightning doing is getting into the season and seeing how these guys are playing, and see if they're winning. They just got to stay at 500. You stay at 500 for 2 months. Vasi comes back. You'll be fine. And they'll make a run towards the end and head into the playoffs. I mean, the good news is he'll be well rested. One of the issues we had with Vasi last year was he was just emotionally, physically tired. His body had just had enough, and he needed a break. And this is probably, part of that. To be quite honest, he played a lot of hockey in a 3-year span. Yeah. The entire team did. And they played a lot of high intensity, high pressure playoff hockey for 3-4 years in a row. So this is residue of that. And so maybe it is a little bit of a blessing in disguise that he gets, he'll be off his skates and he'll be, the rest of his body will be well rested for 2 months. He'll do rehab like nobody else. We know how hard Vasi works. That's not an issue at all. And he'll come back, and I think he'll be the same old Vasi. And maybe better than the Vasi of last year, because let's be honest, that was not the best of Vasi that we've seen. And when Vasi is not elite, the Lightning are not elite.
That's it. And they depend on him so much. And he was giving up soft goals last year. And then you heard, the whole schedule, them playing, playoff series after playoff series was taking a toll. Yep. And now you see it's the back injury. So, yeah, he'll have some much needed rest, and maybe the Lightning are better for it. And then on top of it, the way they play in front of the net, they're going to have to be better now because they don't have Vasilevskiy. So it may be, it may be a blessing in disguise. Again, I'm trying to look at it from, an optimistic point of view. But anytime you lose one of the top young goalies in the league, there could be some, definitely could be some losses there. So
yeah, I'm getting some questions here. Why wouldn't he have gotten certain? Tally's very interested.
Yes.
Why wouldn't he have gotten surgery all this time off in the offseason and be good to go for the season, though? Great question. I think a lot of people have that question. I've gotten a lot of texts to that with that exact sentiment. And I think the reason is backs are a little iffy, right? You never know what exactly is the issue and how bad it is. Sometimes you can, you get a couple of cortisone shots or different shots into the area and it calms it down. It's, kind of slips back into place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're fine and you're good to go and you don't need surgery. So I think you want to exhaust all the other options first before you have the surgery. And that's what the Lightning were doing. So I think they wanted to, you're never going to know how it's going to respond to therapy until you get into training camp and start getting on the ice and going through your routines. Okay. Did the shots help? Did the physical therapy help? Did it not? Because, whenever you're dealing with backs, surgery is the last option, right? It's the last option. So you're going to do everything you can to see if that thing slips back into place and you can just move forward. And clearly they felt like it was not going to. They had done all the physical therapy and all the intermuscular and the cortisone shots and all those other things to see if it was going to respond. It did not. And so they decided to have the surgery. And I think this is, and they also knew that if they had to go the surgery route, it's like, I think this was probably their plan. I don't know when they discovered it, quite frankly. Maybe it was in the offseason because he didn't do a whole lot in the offseason. And maybe they were just trying to get him to rest and see if this thing would kind of heal itself and let the body heal itself. And then, okay, not healing. Let's try the cortisone shots to see if we can get this going. Okay, all right. Well, it's not working. All right, if we do the surgery today, we got 2 months and then we can have, all right. So I think that's pretty well planned out, right? I think that's exactly you want. Surgery is always going to be the last resort. And I think that's what they came to. So I think, and it's an obvious question. Why wouldn't they have done this earlier? I think that's why. Because you just don't want, you never want to, especially when you're talking about can you imagine a surgeon? You're operating on Andre Vasilevsky's spine, like near his spinal cord.
Wow. Right. I mean, and if you mess up, and there was a movie, right? You mess up, then basically you mess up the best goalie and the league. So yeah, and there was actually a movie.
And you destroy a franchise and a fan base. But besides that, there's not a whole lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, no pressure on the doctor at all. There was actually a movie out there like that called Trainwreck. I don't know if you ever saw that. LeBron James actually was a better actor in that movie than he is on the NBA court. And it was about the doctor fixing the kid that was from Auburn here, Auburndale in Florida. I'm trying to think. Got the big time contract from the Knicks. Tall guy. Played for the Phoenix Suns. I can't think of it. Well, anyway, yes, he was doing a surgery on Stoudemire, and that was the whole premise of it. He was distracted and he was trying not to mess up, of course, because it was a big time surgery. Of course, Stoudemire never was the same, but in the movie
didn't recover. Oh wow!
Right, the doctor was thinking about that the whole time. So, and you never.
How could you not? How could you not? I mean, it's so, and the word is that surgery went well. So, all we can do, and these things are, again, when it comes to backs and discs and all those things, this is not an exact science at all whatsoever. So they'll do the best they can and see if they can get it back. Yeah. It's that simple. And now it's time for these other guys to step up. I would think that Brisebois is going to beat the bushes as much as possible to see if he can find a guy that they can bring in that's not going to cost them a whole lot. I would say he's probably very busy. If I had to, if I'm going to make a call right now, will they bring someone in or not? I'm going to say, yeah. I think they're probably going to try to find somebody with a little bit more experience because neither of these guys has any experience. And if they just both crap the bed, then, you got nothing to fall back on. So it would seem a little risky in my estimation that they would go into the season with just these two guys and not somebody with a little bit more experience. So I would expect them to make a move, but I don't think Brisebois is going to come out and say that right away to kind of show his hand. But I think everybody in the league knows he needs a goalie. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens in the end. All right. I wanted to get to the Ryder Cup because I'm pissed off. I'll just be honest with you.
You should save that thought because we actually got our golf pro calling in now. It's on Gerber. So
Yeah,
Let's go
because
on
he
some
knows
lines here.
he's got more information on this than I do. Good morning, John Gerber, PGA Pro. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, guys. Little confused this morning about this Ryder Cup, but we'll see what happens.
I'm not confused at all. I'm not confused at all. I was listening to the commentary from Zinger and all the guys, and if you haven't found out, folks, European cleaned our clock in the Friday morning foursomes 4-0. Terrell Hatton and John Rahm destroyed Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns, who I don't think has ever played golf before, 4-3. Victor Hovland and Ludwig Aberg, who you told us about yesterday, this young Swede who's just phenomenal, 4-3 over Harman and Homa. Go home, boys. Shane Lowry and Sepp Straka, 2-1 over Rickley Fowler and a dead Colin Morikawa, who's been playing both matches this day. And Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood, 2-1 over Cantlay and Schauffele in the morning for a 4-0 clean sweep. And Gerber, where I have the problem is, and I didn't know this, all the European players have been out on their tour playing their ass off, getting ready for Ryder Cup, while most of our guys haven't played in a month since the FedEx.
Yeah,
what the hell?
It's a weird system, and this is what the Europeans do. They kind of get used to playing their way into the Ryder Cup, as opposed to the U.S. kind of taking some time off. Now with Koepka and Spieth, having children and stuff, I can understand that. But this is what they do, the Europeans. I mean, it just seems like it matters more to them. And they're typically very strong in the alternate shot format. But it's the first time ever they've ever went 4-0 on the first day going in alternate shots. So that momentum certainly is on their side. I was really shocked. There's something going on with Koepka, I think. I don't think he's extremely healthy. Here's why I say that. I mean, aren't you meant to put him with Scheffler the first match out yesterday?
I would think so.
I mean, you take those two big boys and go. And also the reason I think there's something going on with Koepka is because I'm watching him play today in the best ball, and he just doesn't look – some of the shots that he's hitting, he's not being very aggressive. He's, the 11th hole here, 312-yard par 4, everyone in the world's hitting driver, and he laid up.
What?
And so, yeah, he laid up. So I'm looking at some of these things, how he's playing, not playing in the morning.
Why in the hell in a best ball format when you have a partner and you're one of the greatest drivers of the golf ball on the planet, do you not hit driver there?
And exactly. And it's very strange. And it'll be curious to see what he does on 16 if they can get that far anyways, to 16. So I think there's something going on with his health. He looks a little heavy. And then when Koepka is not in very, when he's hurt, he gets heavy because he can't work out. Right. So there's some things there that that'll be interesting to see how they play out. But I think the setup that happened in terms of pairing just this morning was a little off for me. And I also think the genius of Luke Donald with his pairings kind of set that tone for the European team.
Yeah. Explain that to the folks. Why do you think his pairings were so good in the morning?
I think he has a better pulse of what's going on with his guys. I really do. I really think they've bought into Luke Donald's kind of little different system. Luke's is a smart guy. He went to Northwestern. He's an artist. I mean, he thinks a little bit different. And I think some of these pairings that he really dove really hard into the guys' kind of team and, how their games are comparable, especially in alternate shot. And I think these guys bought in more than the U.S.
Yeah, that always seems to be the issue. And I know you mentioned that Spieth and Koepka had babies. Did they actually birth the babies?
It looks like it, surely, doesn't it? I mean, Koepka for sure.
Yeah.
I
don't want to be a jerk here because I don't know the health of the wife or anything like that. I didn't hear of any complications or anything. Not that I've been studying their medical records, but I don't know. It's like. I'm sure they have plenty of help. I'm sure they're not changing any diapers. I'm sure they could have got ready for this. But the other guys have no excuse. And if correct me if I'm wrong, is the tournaments that they could have played leading up to this. What tournaments were those?
They certainly could have played Fortinet Championship, which is which is an old event that these guys like to play. A couple guys did. Max Homa played,
Yeah.
but you know what? They certainly could have come over and played in the
the European Tour. Sure.
Yeah, the tournament, which was a huge tournament for the European Tour. They certainly could have came over, and the crazy stat is 7 of the European team members finished in the top 10 last week in that tournament.
Thank you.
Yes.
Meanwhile, our guys are sitting on their ass. Listen, I just don't like that. I think it shows a lack of want to, and I mean, the United States, because we got destroyed in the Junior Ryder Cup too. I saw that yesterday on Golf Channel. I mean, America, boy, we just ain't what we used to be, babe. We just ain't what we used to be, and it's because we're fat and happy. These guys, they can't play for 4 weeks before the Ryder Cup. I mean, would they not play for 4 weeks before a major?
Yeah, right. Most of them certainly do, and they certainly don't take 4 weeks. If they don't take 4 weeks off, they may take 1 week off. But
yes.
As a PGA golf professional, I'm always a big component of playing.
Exactly.
Play your way into shape, play your body muscles into shape. And it also, what it does is it kind of lets you know what you're doing well and what you're not doing well just by playing. And if you just don't know, then how are you, you just can't really
figure it out,
especially in the team. Yeah.
How are you going to work on it? Right. Yeah. I think this is fair criticism, and it just shows a lack of want to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see a lot of emotion out of them anyways, right? And the European team is certainly more emotional, even after winning the first hole. They're jacked up, and they're playing well. But on the good side of it, buddy, we did go 3-1 on our matchups yesterday. So
there you go. There you go. Yeah,
I'll take that. I didn't like any of the best ball matchups just because of the numbers didn't look good, and we had to lay too much money. But the only team 3-1 this morning. The only one we did take Scheffler and Burns. That's the only U.S. team, and obviously that they lost. But I'm really surprised, and I said this earlier. We're not surprised. Is I don't think Scheffler's playing very good. I don't think he likes the golf course. Some of his comments that he said, like most guys, when you go in with that attitude, when one of your big guys is your leader, and he just gonna get boat race. Looks like again this afternoon. That doesn't bode well for the U.S.
How much bad language was heard on the broadcast? Because somebody told me that there was a lot of bad language. What was that all about?
I think I think it's everybody's just kind of riled up a little bit. It's part of the Ryder Cup. I mean, you can't bleep everything out, even though they could if they wanted to. But I think that's just part of the deal. I think that if you watched the coverage, the beginning of the opening tee shot, could you tell how high those stands are?
Yeah, really high.
They're staying 100 feet.
Yeah.
And that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen when it comes to kind of stadium golf when it came to that. So I think the setting was good, but language, we're going to keep hearing that, I think, unless they delay it somehow.
Yeah. I kind of like that part of it. All right. So in the afternoon 4 balls, Spieth and Thomas have just won 12 and 13 to go 2 up in this match. And if the U.S. is going to get into it, that right there, those 2 wins, and if they can go on and win this match, that's going to be huge. Rahm and Hogard are all square with Scheffler and Koepka. Koepka, they were 2 down in that match. So they've come back in the last half hour. The boys woke up, it seems. So they got 2 there. So they're all square now. So that's U.S. up 2-1. They're all square in 1. And Homa and Clark are now 1 up over up 1 up over Justin Rose and McIntyre. So U.S. leads in 2 and all square in another and on a roll, and they've absolutely been blown out in the other match. Schauffele and Morikawa. I want to rip them, but McIlroy and Fitzpatrick went 8 under on the front.
Yes. Sometimes you just get beat, right? I mean,
sometimes you just get beat.
It's just the way it is, man. And that's just one of those things. I didn't really like Rory's form coming into this tournament. He hasn't really played well this Ryder Cup, and notoriously he doesn't play well in Ryder Cups. But boy, does he look awful good. And I think kind of carrying that role of a leader for the European team, I think he's really kind of embraced that. And boy, he played fantastic in alternate shot, and he is playing great in best ball this afternoon.
Well, Fitzpatrick has made every putt on the front side. He himself, I think, is 8 under par on the front. Or he's 6 under. He made 4 straight birdies and then an eagle. So and he's making everything he looks at. I think he's made like 100 feet of putts already today. So
yeah, I'm curious, how do you chip that way, right? If no, he chips cross-handed. So if you tried to do that, JP, you'd probably break your wrist. But apparently,
I'd probably be better. Actually, probably be better. Can't be worse. I might try that. I've already gone to the cross-handed putting, and that's helping.
That's not bad.
Yeah. But so this is, I mean, Johnny, it's all here, right? And this is where the Ryder Cup is going to be won or lost this afternoon, right? I mean, if the U.S. can't get at least 2.5 points in this afternoon, I mean, just mathematically, it's almost impossible to come back, right?
Yeah, certainly in the stats. I mean, the next, tomorrow, the Europeans are certainly going to have an advantage in the alternate shot format like they always do. And they just can't get so far behind. I mean, they can kind of catch up in the best ball because it's just what they do. But you can't get too far behind because I'm telling you, I don't think I think we're deeper in terms of the players, but they're not playing like it. The European players are just playing better.
Because they're rusty, man. They're rusty.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. I agree with you 100%.
How can Zach Johnson allow these guys to sit on their ass for a month? Come on, man. Before the Ryder Cup.
So they hadn't been there. They came there, I guess, 3 days before, but they did a trip 3 weeks before that, just to play the golf course. But why don't you just go for a full week before? I mean, why can't you do that and at least everyone's playing for at least a week before with the guys that they know how to play with, and just make that part of the commitment. Saying, listen, you're on the Ryder Cup team. It's not 1 week. We need 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and you just go over there and just work everything. Well, I promise you, that's what the European team did.
Yeah.
So no, that's why they always have success. And plus, I just think it means more to them for whatever reason.
Yeah, because we're individualists here, and we don't care about our country. We don't care about representing the U.S. It's all about us getting your own bag, your thing, your stuff. Where these guys actually have pride from where they come from and pride in country. We don't. And it's I heard Paul McGinley talking about this on the broadcast this morning. He said, I love his Irish accent. He says you got to tap into the heart. You got to tap into the heart. You go into the European locker room. We got pictures of our family, where we come from, in the greats of the day. We got Seve Ballesteros. The last European shirt that he wore is hanging up in the U.S. doesn't do anything like that. They have no heart. They're not committed to it. These guys take it seriously. It means a lot to them. And the U.S. is just another notch on their resume. I was on the Ryder Cup, dude.
Certainly that. And Zach Johnson made a comment to kind of allude to what the locker room was like. He's like, we don't have any pictures and, no motivational videos. Rudy's not playing in the locker room of the U.S. I promise you.
Why not?
Now, but
why not?
Exactly. That's a great question. And,
Zach Johnson, you suck.
Right.
Like, what kind of leadership are you displaying? Yeah, we don't have any pictures. Nobody took the time.
Individual.
Yeah. Nobody took the time to tap into our history of the Ryder Cup. Show some video. I mean, come on. Wow.
And their gear is bad too. Whoever designed those clothes are terrible. I don't like it.
Awful. Awful.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm not saying the Europeans are great either, but boy, that stuff Zach Johnson came up with, boy, somebody should be fired just on that.
You look like crap. You play like crap, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. How can we get your picks for tomorrow?
Yeah, so we'll be posting those again later on tonight for the alternate shot again in the morning. You can find those at our Twitter feed on the X at jgerberpga, or you can always find us on fanstreamsports.com. We'll be doing some posting there this weekend, and with all of our great shows, and we might do a little recap on Saturday, but certainly we'll be posting that on Facebook, Fanstream Sports Facebook page, and my Twitter feed at jgerberpga.
All right, partner. Great stuff. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a great Friday.
Oh, man. You can tell I'm chapped.
I can tell. I can definitely tell you are, because no effort by the U.S. at all. There's no motivation. Like you said, they're all individualists. Get in the bag. Social media, clicks and likes. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, how do you do no motivational stuff? How do you not try to tap into a little bit of American pride?
Right.
Have some pictures, do some videos, do some stuff. I mean, come on. It's just supposed to be, this is important. It used to be important.
Right.
It used to be important to represent your country. Now we wear the U.S. on our chest and take a knee. That's what we do now. That's our go team. Wow. Yeah, and nationalism is supposed to be some dirty thing. Like, oh yeah, you love America, you're a scumbag.
Yeah,
really?
What happened with that? Like now it was patriotic.
What happened with a lot of stuff in this country, bro? What happened with a lot of stuff in this country? There's a lot of, it's just the media, a lot of forces working against, anybody who wants to. Now you can't even wear a flag on your shirt to go to school. Kids who wear an American flag are told don't wear that here. That's what's wrong with this country. Okay. Well, let's start right there. It's just ridiculous. And we need to turn it around. We need to reclaim the values that built this country. Okay. No, we haven't been perfect in our past. No country has, by the way, none, but I'll put our resume up against any other country. All right. Almost 250 years of freedom. Yes, we've done it. We've made some mistakes, but we fixed most of them because our system works, or it used to work, until all this stupid ass shenanigans that have been going on the past few years because of these elitists that are running our country now. It's not Democrat and Republican anymore, folks. Nope, sorry, that's not what this is. This is something much more nefarious, and it is. And if we don't stop it now, it's going to be too late. That's all I'm going to say. You can go figure out the rest. And this is why I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off because that's not the country I grew up in. We dominated everything. And this is not about sports. It's about why we dominated everything, because we worked our ass off. We had work ethic. We cared. We had American pride. It was important to be honest. It was important to go by the rules. It was important to do the right thing and make right choices and be a family man and be honest and sacrifice for others instead of it being all about yourself. We used to have a sense of community. We used to care about each other. None of that anymore. And we need to get back to that. And then maybe we'll win something on an international stage again, because we don't win anymore. Our tennis players don't win anymore. Our golfers don't win anymore. Hell, our basketball teams don't win anymore.
That was embarrassing. Nobody cared about that, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
We don't even win the stuff we used to win. So and you think that this progressive stuff is supposed to be good for us? I got news for you. It's not.
It's regressive.
Yes. It's ridiculous. All right. Quick break. When we come back, our good friend James Pietralka will join us from Fox Sports. Been in the booth for a couple of Bucks games. We'll get his thoughts on what he's seen. He's also working the Saints game coming up this weekend. Jameis versus Baker, probably the matchup. So we'll chat with him. Lots more coming your way this morning on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and the Patio, the best place to watch sports, be it Ryder Cup, be it football all weekend long, home of the Tampa Gator Club and the Bills Club. It's the Patio, 421 South McDill. We'll be there on Monday night for our Monday Night Football party from 5 to 7 o'clock. Come join us. Back in 3. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
So you're experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had. It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We got lots of football to talk about today. We'll get you ready for the college slate, Kentucky and Florida this weekend. The Noles are off, by the way, but we'll be peeking around the rest of the country, see what's going on. And, of course, for the NFL and the Bucs, it doesn't get bigger than this. The interdivision rivalry with the freaking Saints. And my man James Petralco from Fox Sports will be covering that this weekend in the booth. What's up, James? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, JP. How are you?
Good. Getting ready for this one. Cannot wait. It looks like it'll be Jameis against his old team.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. Is that what you're hearing, that Jameis is going to get to start?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, I know that Carr hasn't practiced this week, so
no.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jameis.
Nice. And remember what was a couple of years ago when he got the start and was having a great season under Sean Payton for the first time. And then I believe it was Devin White who kind of horse-collared him a little bit and tore his ACL. And he had already thrown a touchdown pass in the game. So I can't imagine Jameis being any more amped up than getting this opportunity. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be really exciting for him. We'll be talking to him later today. So, yeah, I'm sure he's going to be really excited. And he's getting Alvin Kamara back, too. So that's a big help for him.
How much of a big help is that with Kamara coming back to that offense? And how much had they missed the first couple of weeks?
I think they have missed him. I mean, he's one of the best. He's their best running back. He's one of the top running backs in the league. So, I mean, I think it definitely has an impact with him being out, and because there's a lot more they can do offensively with him in the game. And one of the things, and we saw this a little bit in the Bucs game Monday night against Philly, the Eagles were able to run the ball and the Bucs weren't, and that's where you don't line up like in the old days, with the Eric Dickersons, where they're going to give it to a guy 35 times a game, but you have to be able to run the ball. And that was where, the Bucs weren't able to, and the Eagles were. And so with Kamara coming in, that's another thing the defense has to worry about, because that sets up all the play action and everything, flows off of that.
Yeah, that's and I don't know what the conversation was like in the booth on Monday night. You don't have to give me word for word quotes, but you had what, Kurt Warner and Mike Mayock in the booth?
It was actually Mike Mayock. Kurt Warner was doing the other game.
So, and Mike, I know, is former general manager, scout, and all
right.
that, and really tuned into the rosters. And The Eagles are just elite on both sides of the ball. Is that really what he was saying in terms of the difference between these two teams?
Yeah. And the biggest thing that, he talked about a lot was on the air and off the air was the lines, offensive and defensive lines. The Eagles, they just dominated the game. And he said that going in, looking at the film, that he thought that was going to have the Bucs would have a hard time blocking them, and their defense would have a hard time as well. But he said, the Eagles are one of the best in the league on both sides of the ball. The positive for the Bucs, and Mike said this too, is that they're not going to face many teams like the Eagles.
Right.
So, in their division, they're still as good as anybody. So they have a lot of winnable games, and they'll be able to play better against other teams. And their offensive line, I think, over time, you got a lot of new guys and different, so that they'll get better over time. But yeah, that was going to, he thought going in that was going to be a struggle. And obviously it turned out that way.
Did he mention anything about Devin White specifically?
No, nothing specific came up about him.
Yeah.
He also, I'm sorry, but one of the things he also talked about a lot that hurt the Bucs last week was being down their corners, with Carlton Davis out and then Dean, being a little bit in and out. He said it's tough to play without your top corners, especially when they weren't able to get a pass rush. So that was also a big thing. And I don't know how I'm not sure if either one of those guys is going to play this week. Yeah,
Davis practiced yesterday, so it looks like he's going to go. Jamel did not, so I don't. He probably won't. And that's what we've talked about. The fact that we're paying these guys $35 million total, and they rarely are on the field together, rarely, and that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Yeah,
that's like say the best ability is availability.
That's right.
That has been an issue. So hopefully they can, stay healthy, and because they're, when they're healthy, they're good. I mean, that's a good, good tandem there.
We know what Sean Payton did with the Saints. Where do you stand on Dennis Allen? Because I feel like, look, if it were Jameis Winston coming in and Sean Payton were the coach, we would be a little bit concerned. But Dennis Allen, his record in the National Football League, not the greatest. Defensive mind. Where do you stand on Allen?
Well, I mean, personally, when meetings with him and talking to him and watching him, I mean, I really like him as a defensive coach. And I think he doesn't have the same personality as Sean, but very few, coaches do. But yeah, it's a different. And in some ways, it's a positive because Sean is very, driven and hard and tough. And so I think, in some ways, Dennis is a little bit of a welcome change in some respects, but yeah, it's a little different now. On the other side of the ball, Pete Carmichael, who's the offensive coordinator, he was there the whole time with Sean, so he knows they run the same offense. He was involved. He called the plays a lot of the time, even when Sean was there. So offensively, it hasn't changed too much, but I think overall with Dennis, it's just a different personality. So yeah, and he's calling the defense too. So maybe a little bit of a drop off from where Sean was.
James Pachaka joining us here from Fox Sports. He'll be in the booth this weekend. Who's calling the game for your Fox team there?
It's Chris Myers and Robert Smith.
Robert Smith. You got Robert Smith this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Big fan of Robert Smith. Is this his first year back? No, he's been with Fox a couple of years now.
Yeah,
right?
He was with us last year.
Okay.
He did a couple games in 21, then he was with our crew all of last year.
Nice. So you guys have any production meetings yet this week? Have you got a feel for what the kind of game they're expecting? I think this is going to be a low scoring defensive game. I don't think either one of these offenses is going to get on track against you, because both teams I think play really, really good defense. I was talking to Mike Neighbors yesterday, who covers the Saints, and he really believes that this defense is as good as they've had. And that's saying something, right? Because they've lost some guys, but they've got two really, really good linebackers. Their front seven is good. It's not Eagles good, but it's good. So I think the Bucs are still going to struggle to run the football, and it's going to be hard to find points on either side.
Yeah, I think so. In terms of the meetings, they're meeting with the Saints today, and then we'll meet with the Bucs tomorrow, and then our crew will meet tomorrow. So. Yeah, we be able to get a better feel. But yeah, to your point though, I think it is going to. I think it will be a low scoring game, and I think it will be tough again. The Bucks, Canales, he's, they established a run because Baker can make some plays, and we had a couple chances last week. Unfortunately, Evans had a couple drops that early in the game that could have really could have changed it on the first possession. The pass was a little high, but that's a play that Mike usually makes.
Yep.
And the one in the end zone, and that was the only thing Mayock talked about that too is, he makes those catches, it's a different game. And the same thing happened. We were in Texas, Houston, the Texans at Jacksonville last week. And Jacksonville had a couple drops. Talking to Tony Baselli, who does their games after the game, and the game turned to be a blowout. But early in the game, Ridley had 2 drops, could have been a touchdown. He said, we could have been up 14-0. Now we're down. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh, here we go. And so little things like that really can change a game.
Yeah, hugely. Yeah, I don't think the Bucks win that game anyway. But I mean, you can't. And this is one of my big takeaways from this game. We're watching young players develop here for the Buccaneers. This is a very young team, and we need to see how these young players develop. But in the meantime, the guys that are getting paid, like Devin White, Devin. I mean, you want to go back and look at that tape, and I'd love to get Mayock's take on it as well. He didn't get off a block all night long, and he doesn't run over a quarterback when he's gifted a pick 6. And I know he was battling injuries, but if you can't get off a block, and I'm sorry, but that's the reason that they ran for as many yards as they did. They targeted him and they ran right by him almost every single play. It wasn't just him, but he was a big part of the reason they were so successful. He couldn't get off a block. I guess he was too hurt to run over Jalen Hurts or didn't want to. I don't get it. And if it's either Devin's fault or Todd Bowles' fault. If he's that hurt that he can't run over a quarterback, he shouldn't be on the field. And that's disturbing. He played terrible. Vita Vea, I know he's battling the pectoral muscle, did not play great. Shaq Barrett, Oford, played 57% of the stats, didn't have a tackle, a hit, a hurry, anything. Goose egg across the board. Mike Evans drops 3 passes. Chris Godwin could nowhere to be found. So the guys that are getting paid, other than Tristan Wirfs, didn't show up. And that's a huge problem.
So, I think some of that, like we talked about earlier, goes, to the opponent. I mean, the Eagles are, especially on the offensive line, they're one of the best. So we'll see how they play against New Orleans. If they, they're not quite as good. So you'd expect to see them play a little better. The health thing is, that's always a tough thing for guys injured. It's like, okay, is he still better than the guy that's behind him, even if he's not 100%? So hopefully that, they can get these guys like Vita Vea. Yeah, that was one that, because that was one of these Mayock talked about before the game, that he thought that the Vita Vea against Kelsey might be a good matchup for the Bucks, because Kelsey struggles with big guys, but Vita Vea wasn't. He wasn't himself, and he was out of the game a lot too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I wonder if Mike just kind of regrets not drafting Devin White. Still feels like that with the play he had last week, of course, because he's with the Raiders, and I thought he got a raw deal in the first place. So
yeah,
he got beat up by Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Antonio Brown. Everybody gets beat up by Antonio Brown, including his.
By the way, AB got a complete pass on that one. By the way, he was in a Bucs uniform the next week, or no, he went to the Patriots right after that.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Beat up the general manager.
Well, he didn't not physically beat up, but he was.
He attacked him.
You can't call your boss all kinds of names like he did. I mean, I don't understand that.
I don't know. I might take Mike in that fight if they.
Yeah, I would too.
Going.
Yeah, no, I would too.
Guy, pretty looks in good shape too.
Yeah, no, I would too. But not when I don't know. That was just a bizarre situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this week you're heading to New Orleans. I would say a hazmat suit and a Kevlar vest would be in your suitcase. Just a little. From the last time I was there, I think you might need both of those.
It's funny. I haven't been to New Orleans for about 3 or 4 years, so we haven't done a Saints game in New Orleans for a few years. So.
Wow.
Oh, where are you staying?
We're actually at the Ritz-Carlton downtown.
Nice.
I've been there. So
that's
one where Brian Williams, I think, was floating down the hallway or something.
I was there last time we were in New Orleans. We spent some time in that wonderful bar there at the Ritz-Carlton. That was about the only refuge I could find in the French Quarter from the bums, the smell of urine, and the rest of the stuff. So good luck with that. Stay in the hotel. Don't wander around.
Yeah. All right.
Right. James Pachaco right there from Fox Sports. All right. Yeah, this is going to be a super interesting game. I'm worried, though. I got to tell you, Pete, doing a little prep last night. And we're going to listen to Dave Canales, right? In fact, we could probably do that a little bit right now.
Yeah, we could definitely do that right now if you want to. But go ahead and tell me why you're worried really quick, and then we'll get out to Canales. Because I tell you right now, I think both teams are kind of mirror images of each other in that, they got new quarterbacks, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield. Now it's going to be Jameis Winston. Offensive lines, big-time question marks here. So like you said, it could definitely be a low-scoring game. And I kind of wonder what the Bucs are going to do, what their game plan is going to be with Canales. Do you come out and try to establish the run? You heard from Baker last week. I kind of got this, and I don't know if you picked this up or not, but it certainly seemed like he kept on saying we need to start out faster. So are they coming out flat?
I think this is where, we're getting into a little bit of trouble here. And we know that, and we lauded it the first 2 weeks they were running the football, even though they weren't doing it great because they won. They won the games, right? And I do think that the time of possession and all that was, that was good. But you got to evolve in the NFL week to week, right? What do we say? It's a week-to-week league. Everybody gets your tape. Okay, this is what they're doing. Yep. This is how we're going to stop it. Now you got to – what's your chess move, where you go now? So you got to evolve each and every week. You got to adjust. Well, they're going to take away this. What do we do next? So I think, last week it's hard to tell if it was about a chess match or if you just got bludgeoned. And it was probably a little bit more of the it doesn't matter what kind of chess pieces you're moving. If the other team is just that much better on both sides of the ball, it doesn't matter. So I don't know that, but my feeling is that the Bucs are not going to be able to run the ball this week, and that Dave Canales is going to try to keep sticking a square peg in a round hole. And he even said use the word stubborn yesterday. And listen, you can try to run the football, but if everybody knows that's what you're going to do all the time, you're not going to be able to run the football in the NFL. If you're running against heavy boxes all the time, I don't care how good your running back is, and ours isn't that great. I don't care how good your offensive line is, and ours isn't that great. Now you're starting to bang your head against the wall a little bit. And I think that's what Baker was saying. We got to throw the ball on first down. We're getting 8 yards a pop when we throw it on first down. We're getting 1.2 yards when we run it on first down. I'm no math major, but even my FSU math will tell me that ain't good, and you can't keep doing that. Because second and 9 ain't no way to live in the NFL or any football league.
No,
it ain't working, and second and 11's even worse. So they got to throw the ball on first down. They've got to be more aggressive early on in the game. They threw the ball deep to Devin Tompkins and missed him. You got to hit that shot. He was open.
Sure.
Baker's got to give him a chance on that. You can't overthrow him in that situation. There was another play in the next series. Of course, Mike drops the one. And the next series where he had Mike down the field and the safety was in trail position and was beat, and he didn't let it go. You got to hit those shots. You got to hit those shots. Those change the game early on. It changes the way the defense starts to play you. And they've got to back off a little bit. Then you can run the football a little bit more. But if they know you're just going to come out, we're going to run the football, and then they'll be like, okay, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when they have 10 men in the box and you call it on the goal line and the linebacker, I mean, this doesn't make any sense. It sounds more like Todd Bowles to me.
Exactly.
It sounds like
exactly.
And when Todd Bowles was asked about it, he was kind of defensive. Well, and we have those comments too. I'm letting Canales run the offense. Are you? Was it all Byron last year? Was it all Byron, or was it Todd Bowles? Maybe we start to find out some of this stuff.
Yeah.
There's other ways to run the ball, by the way. I mean, screen passes, short passes, stuff like that. I mean, again, at the end of the day, you want to get into those manageable situations where it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, not 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 13, because then your offense is basically one-dimensional at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely, it's just counterproductive at some point. Well, let's listen into a little Dave Canales from yesterday's press conference.
Walkthroughs are hard for me. Half speed. It's not in my nature to go half speed and do things, but the guys were sharp and they were in tune. We talk about not changing your level of focus with the change in tempo. So I thought they did a good job of that today. What we got?
Where do you build on from a game like Monday night?
Yeah, rough one, right? Just not enough plays in the game, just really looking at it. And of course, like one of my skills is overthinking a lot of things and just kind of sitting there looking at it. It just came down to fundamental execution, throwing and catching, blocking, finishing runs, all those things that we have to get better at. We've had 3 performances in the regular season now, and none of them are really up to the standard that we want fundamentally. The guys are playing hard. The guys are trying. We had the right attitude on the sidelines, stayed together. But it's just something that I think that we have to grow, me included, but all of us have to continue to take those steps to grow.
I know each week you're doing some self-reflection on yourself and how you can grow. Were there any plays that you wish you could have had back in that game?
Yeah, really just the half-yard line run. That was the one where, like part of our MO is going to be we're going to be able to run the ball at all times. This is the best defensive front in football, and just running like a tight run right there in that situation probably wasn't the best thing. I don't want to go into too much of what else we could do in that situation, but I definitely have to take that one, first and foremost for that.
Dave, you talk about you're still growing, the offense is still growing. Bowles has referenced that. And I remember, for example, when Brady came here, Arian said it took him, a smart guy like him, a veteran, till the end of November, basically, to fully absorb the offense. When is a realistic target date or expectation that you think you use every bit of your offense and that everybody will know what to do, everybody will be in sync?
Yeah, I think the guys know what to do. Just the full speed reps of playing together as a unit is just the thing that's going to help us grow, learn from the film. But I don't really have a timeline. I just know that, normally you'd like your bye week to be like halfway through the season or even later to kind of rest yourself up for the run. This year it's kind of a gift that's happening early where we can really look at 4 games and say, what are our best runs averaged? What are our best pass concepts where the quarterback looks rhythmic and we're putting Mike and Chris in the best possible situation. So we got another opportunity here to put some more things on film to really start to hone in on that identity, but I don't want to rush anything. I don't want to make any wholesale changes, schematically or personnel standpoint at this point while we're still gathering information and really trying to learn the offense.
After watching the game, how much has the efficiency on first down played into the struggles a little bit? Are you winning enough on first down to set you guys up for the rest of it?
Yeah, the first couple weeks we were efficient in the run game. Our play action hasn't been where I'd like it to be. We just a near miss on DT on a crossing concept, where we had them dead to rights in the coverage. We got to make those, and there were just some things like that that came up in the game where I feel like the mix is good. I feel like we have the right mentality with what we're doing, and we just got to execute and finish the plays.
Victor had mentioned yesterday being more aggressive on offense. Are you seeing that as well?
No, not really. We're taking a good amount of shots. I mean, you're seeing some balls, like the biggest thing is like how many balls over 40 yards, air yards, are we averaging per game? And we're right around with the number of plays. We're right around what you want to be, what we want to be. And if you look league-wide, that's kind of – we're being able to do that. Getting more turns is really the deal. We didn't have enough plays to take more shots, but we put the ball down the field a good amount. But again, the one thing I wasn't going to do against a really good front is just think we could just drop back and just put our O-line in a pass protection mode right away like that, especially with our defense playing as well as they were early on in the game.
So Baker yesterday, I was like, he seemed pretty positive. I know he wants to win.
Yeah.
He's like, take nothing away from the Eagles. That's a good defense, but everything that we didn't do or mistakes was correctable. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. Again, if it was schematic things, if there were wholesale changes, then I would be more concerned. But when you look at the tape, we're talking about throwing and catching. We're talking about taking care of the ball, with an interception and a fumble, our first 2 turnovers of the year. It just makes it harder against a really elite team. I mean, that's, we talk about championship football, wanting to be a playoff team. Those are the types of teams that we have to be able to make those plays on. They made theirs. We didn't make ours,
All right, that's Dave Canales there, talking about the first down runs. Look, it's going to take some time for this offense and for him to get into, a groove as a play caller. But now he's got to deal with other teams getting his tape, and now that's the next move for a coordinator. How are they adjusting? How do you adjust to their adjustments? So here we go. Welcome to the NFL, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. Each and every week, it's a lot. All right, quick break. When we come back, is FSU and Clemson headed to the SEC? There have been reports to suggest that. We will speak with Pat Burnham next from the Osceola and the Rivals Network on all things Florida State. Look back at that Clemson win and look ahead to where this program is right now. Pat Burnham coming up next. Stay with us. Quick break.
Coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. He called it last week, and I certainly concurred, that FSU would win a close one over Clemson. I didn't think overtime. I didn't think it would be quite that way, but the Seminoles got it done. Pat Burnham from the Osceola and the Rivals Networks joins us here. Did you travel up to Clemson?
Well, I made it as far as Lake Lanier. I ended up with a little coat. I ended up with a little COVID flu, so I didn't want to make the boys in the press box sick.
Okay, gotcha.
So, but
not a bad consolation prize at Lake Lanier there. Huh? Not bad at all.
I mean, the lake wasn't a bad place to watch the game. I'm not going to lie, COVID or not. But yeah, so I had a little flu bug, so I stayed away from the boys.
Yeah, responsible you are. Just give me before we get into conference realignment, all that stuff. Just your take on the game in general. What'd you think?
Well, listen. I mean, anytime that you play a opponent of equal or better ability than you and you come away with a win, I don't think the optics matter.
No.
I think what you do is you go back and look at what's happened the previous 2 weeks. But listen, you hadn't beat Clemson since 2014. And all that matters coming out of that game is that you're 4-0 and everything's still on the table for you from a ACC championship perspective and obviously a college football playoff perspective. But certainly you come out of there thinking, what's wrong with the run game? It's not looked good 2 weeks in a row. And when you look at who they've played against, Southern Miss 122nd in rush defense, BC 116th, Clemson 12th, LSU 69th. You have gone from you finished 14th in the nation last year in rushing offense. You've regressed to 77 through 4 games in this season. Then obviously pass defense is still an issue. You're 114th right now. That comes against Southern Miss offense ranked 98th in pass offense, BC 61st, Clemson 37th, and LSU 10th. They got to get that shored up because both those things have showed themselves the last 2 games, right? And, BC is not Clemson. Now, Clemson, I think, is the best defense FSU has faced to date. But given that, JP, and I don't mean this to be overly critical, but there is no excuse for running for 21 yards against Clemson's defense, no matter how good they are. And so they got to get that ironed out. And whether it's going more back to the counter than it's counter schemes and gap schemes than they have, obviously that was key against LSU. Since then, we've seen them go away from that and go to more inside, outside zone type stuff.
Yeah, I noticed that just in terms of the blocking. And you think that's something that's more comfortable with this offensive line, or maybe that due to injuries in the offensive line, they went away from that? Why do you think they would go away with something that was working that well?
Maybe they don't feel like they're athletic enough on the offensive line to be pulling a lot of people. Maybe they're not great in space. I know that they took Jeremiah Byers out at right tackle late in the game and put in Darius Washington. Maybe you experiment with Jeremiah at one of the guard positions because he is one of your more athletic guys, and he's a guy that can pin and pull and do those types of things. Now, will they do that? Who knows? I did not go to practice this week, so obviously we couldn't talk about it if they did. Other than to say they are rotating offensive linemen around. But listen, I think that's something that you might want to look at if you're Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins. But certainly as the counter has gone away, so has the run game. I also think maybe you give Rodney Hill some more carries. Rodney was one of the more impressive backs in spring and in fall camp. And listen, at times you and I both mentioned it, and Mark Salva, another football analyst of ours, mentioned it. Trey did not run like Trey's capable of running against Boston College. He ran a little bit harder against Clemson, but there's no holes there.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think they can get this pass defense turned around? Because I think that's been one of the most disappointing aspects of it is the defense in general. Even though they make a big-time play in the fourth quarter to get this team back in there, can they get this defense turned around?
Well, listen, Clemson still had over 200 yards of offense in the second half. Obviously, that pressure was big. They blitzed about 30 more times in the second half than they did the first half. 30% more, I think is what I should have said. I don't know if I said that. But listen, you if you're going to live by the blitz, you're going to die by the blitz at some point. You do have 2 future NFL quarterbacks on your schedule in the Duke kid and then obviously TVD down there at Miami. Is that the recipe to overcome some of your deficiencies in the backfield? Do you need to look at moving Kevin Knowles, who has not been very good at safety? You move him back at corner, and there's been subpar play at corner. But listen, certainly they've got to shore it up to the best they can. But through 4 games, they have showed, other than Southern Miss, that they're susceptible against the pass, regardless of whether it's a dynamic playmaker like Castellanos, who Louisville did not struggle with, if you want to start apples to oranges type of stuff. But they've got to get those 2 things shored up if they're going to live up to their ability or their full potential, which we all agree in this particular year in the ACC should be Florida State going to the ACC championship game. And JP, you've looked at the schedule. Peter, you've looked at the schedule. It certainly sets itself up outside of Duke, Miami, and Florida. And Duke, really, if you are a top 5 Florida State team, even a top 20 Duke team should not. Maybe they play you tough, Maybe they play you close, but that's a game you should win. Yes. Yeah. So I think it's setting up. I think they should go to the ACC championship game, and but they've got to listen. And here's the other thing: they're probably good enough at quarterback, wide receiver, and defensive line to overcome some of their deficiencies. I think Jordan has not played his best football yet. I think he's got a lot of good football in front of him. So I think that are they going to get better? They should get better, right? I mean, they've got some talent. They've got some, do you give Conrad Hussey some more snaps at safety? How are they going to tweak this thing over the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this off week is critical for self-scouting and to get I think the offense needs to be more varied. I kind of get it. Clemson was daring them to throw the jump balls, but I just, I think you got to get Jaheim Bell more involved. The Morlock more involved. The other tight end, what's his name, Kyle? The other tight end.
Morlock.
Morlock, yeah, I got that right.
Yeah, Morlock, Marquiston Douglas, obviously, is a guy that he dropped a pass in the Clemson game, but he's a guy that do you spread them out more, right? Do you go more empty to create? And listen, I think if you could figure out a way to get more guys in the slot the ball, it makes Johnny and Keon even that more dangerous. But listen, I do think that those guys, particularly if they play the way they did against Clemson, they can offset. And listen, Jordan was a little bit beat up. He wasn't on target. Yeah, your run game is going to be better when you have the legitimate threat of running him. You would still hope that you're good enough at running back that you're not having to do a lot of dedicated quarterback run game. You hope that what he creates is in the passing game it's not there. He tucks and run. But certainly that affected the way Clemson was able to defend Florida State once it became obvious that Jordan was not going to be able to be run with the reckless abandon that we're used to seeing Jordan run with.
Exactly. Pat Burnham joining us here from the Osceola and Rivals Network. Let's look at this program now for the rest of the season moving forward. You kind of mentioned the schedule. I think this defense has got to overall improve. I don't think Adam Fuller is using these guys to their potential. And I think I did hear that the NCAA ruled Darrell Jackson can come back for the playoff.
Well, it's postseason, and that's a standard rule with that particular situation. Once he's ineligible for this semester. Once the semester is over, which means bowl game or playoffs, he would be eligible. He would not be eligible for the ACC championship game if they make it there because that falls within the semester.
He's still practicing?
He looks really, really good. And he is
it's not going to change at this point. All appeals have been denied.
No. Yeah, I don't think so. The NCAA is a weird little organization. Would it totally shock me if they reverse course? But no.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
send him out there anyway. What's the NCAA going to do? Send a cop?
You make yourself ineligible for the college football playoff and for a bowl.
Send the letter back. When they send the letter that you're ineligible, send it back. They have no power anymore. They don't.
Well, I agree. And listen, we talked about this. I think that what they've done to that kid is wrong. What they've done to the kid at North Carolina is wrong. And I even think the damn thing they did to the kid at LSU, who I don't think would have played against Florida State anyway, Mason Smith, that was outdated. You're right.
It's ridiculous.
Listen, they're flexing their muscles the only places that they can right now.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. All right. So as far as conference realignment goes, there was an article yesterday in the Post and Courier Dispatch basically saying that Clemson is leaving for the SEC. There was I guess that was a leak from Clemson administrator, allegedly, and FSU and maybe going with them. What are your thoughts? Are you hearing anything? What's happening?
Well, listen, you would think there would be more smoke in Tallahassee if what's going on is Clemson is true. You're not hearing that much out of Clemson. I know that we are trying to get an interview set up with FSU AD Mike Alford for next week. Hopefully we'll have more of that on the Osceola.com. But yeah, I've heard Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and Virginia to either the SEC or Big Ten. But that means so you had to have 8 schools before you added SMU, Cal, and Stanford. All right, so now to get out to disband the ACC, my understanding is you'd have to have 10. Now, obviously, Stanford, Cal, and SMU are not in the ACC right now. So theoretically, you could have 8 and get out, right? I believe you got to have 8 of the 14 say they want to disband the conference. So you got to find a home for Virginia Tech, Pitt, NC State, and somebody else. And that based on that same or some articles that came out after that article post Courier had those teams going to the Big 12. So I don't think Clemson by itself had, and I could be proved wrong. They say they're going to announce that according to that article after October. Maybe they are the geniuses that found their way out of the GRO, the grant of rights. Right. You would think there would be some more smoke if that was true. But my understanding, the only way for these schools to leave is for them to find a way to dissolve the ACC. And so they got all these teams. You have to have at least 4 other teams on a 14-team ACC find homes, right? So I think that's the deal. Does the Big 12 want to expand? What happens if, do Clemson and Florida State travel together and go to SEC and UNC and Virginia go to Big 10, vice versa? Listen, I think everyone is still spitballing on this. I really do. Yeah. I mean, that post-Courier article is kind of out of the blue. We talked a little bit about it in our Osceola staff meeting yesterday. And, if it happens, I will be a little bit shocked. But if it happens, it's not going to happen with Clemson just being by themselves.
By themselves, yeah.
In your opinion, Florida State, Clemson, where should they be going? Should it be the SEC or should it be the Big 10 in your?
Well, I think just as from my upbringing and where I think the most intriguing games would come, and the coolest place to travel is to watch Florida State play. The SEC, you're already playing 2 games a year in the SEC. You played LSU in Florida the last 2 years. I think that the environments at Ole Miss and Mississippi State would be much more fun than Purdue and Illinois.
True.
So yeah. So hey, listen, now I think if they do that, either way, if you go to the Big 10 or the SEC, are you going to be patient with these? Because it's only going to get harder and harder to win ball game. I mean, you're going to an NFL model, right? And so you got to start out at thinking, well, we're probably going to go 6-6 this year. I mean, as a baseline, right? I mean, they turned the NFL into a 500 league, right? And that's the more you expand and you make these conferences super conferences. You could be 8-4 if FSU goes into the SEC and be a great.
But you could still make the playoff. But you could still you could lose 4 games and still make the playoff.
Listen,
which
the
is
way
all you really care about.
Right. And I think this year, the way this year is going in college football, I think this is the year they should have brought in the 12-team playoff.
Oh my God! Yes.
There are not 4 legitimately better teams than everybody else right now. I mean, we've seen that.
It's all going to be about timing. It's going to be about timing. Who gets it?
And listen, these guys are getting ready to start beating up each other in the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, and Pac-12. But yes, I mean we're fixing to get into the the really meat of the football season as we go into Week 5. But yeah, I think it'd be fascinating to see a 12-team playoff.
12 teams would be fantastic this year. But we're going to
get
there.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say there's going to be some teams that are legitimately going to get left out this year that have more of a gripe than they've had in years past because Georgia and Alabama and Clemson have been so dominant since the inception of the college football playoff.
Yeah. But still, this team has an excellent shot to get there in the playoff. I think right now they have the 4th best odds, tied for the 4th best odds, or tied for the 3rd best odds, depending on how you look at it, to win the national championship. So, why not FSU? It's going to be about who stays healthy and the timing of your wins. FSU runs the table and then loses in the ACC championship game. Do they still get in the playoff? Probably, but not for sure. Do they lose to Miami and still get in, and then beat them in the ACC championship game and then get in? That could happen. So I still think they do have a little bit of cushion being 4-0. But that being said, you should win every, game on your schedule. Although, if the Gators go in and beat Kentucky, I might be, that game in Gainesville is not going to be easy.
Well, especially if it's got playoff implications, right?
Exactly.
I mean, there's going to be more pressure felt, and if you're the Gators and you're not in that conversation, and we don't think they're going to be, They're going to come out fired up to beat their arch rival. So, I said before the season started, when everybody was poo-pooing the Gators, I was like, all right, listen, Napier's a good coach. He's going to figure out a way to have a functional team. And listen, they are good up front on defense. Florida is. And listen, but again, I go back to, and I agree with you, JP. Miami and Florida, the two toughest games. We'll find out a lot about, Syracuse is good statistically, but they've got Clemson and North Carolina before they come to Florida State. Duke's got Notre Dame and NC State before they come to Florida State. Wake's got, this is not Sam Hartman and A.T. Perry.
That's
Wake.
right. That's right.
They've got to play Clemson, Virginia Tech, and Pitt, and then Pitt's not very good this year from what we've seen through 4 games, and they'll have Louisville and Notre Dame as 2 of the 3 games before Florida State goes there. And then Miami's got North Carolina, Clemson, and NC State 3 of the 5 games before they come to Tallahassee. So we're going to have a lot better idea about some of these teams, particularly Syracuse after this weekend. But statistically, they've been very good. Louisville, and Florida State did not draw Louisville and North Carolina on the schedule this year. And what a year not to draw both of those teams, because Jeff Brom's got Louisville going. I think it's going to be a fascinating race to see who ends up in Charlotte. But I've said this.
No divisions this year.
Yeah, Florida State should end up in Charlotte, I think.
It's the top 2 rated teams, right? That go. No divisions.
Teams with the best winning percentage in the conference play.
Best winning percentage in conference play, or highest rated in the poll.
I believe it is highest winning percentage in conference
play.
Like Florida.
So, non-conference wins don't count.
No, I don't think. Florida and LSU have no bearing on whether they win the ACC. That's my understanding. Now you got me questioning myself, JP.
I should have done that. We should have looked this up beforehand, right? Okay.
That's okay.
All right, I was told there'd be no hard math. It's an FSU show, for God's sake.
And Lord, you don't want me doing math. That's for sure.
By the way, what's this? I read this story about old Tiger King, Joe Exotic's mad at Jordan Travis for putting tigers on his social media or something. This guy trying to be relevant with my man Jordan Travis. What the hell's going on here?
I think he's looking for a payday. I think he wants to sue Jordan. I think that's what he wants to do, and I think he's trying to figure out.
Kids now, they got money. That's right.
I said some of them have a lot of money, and Jordan may be one of those guys. But listen, go ahead. I think the old boy in prison is just trying to pass the time, and just keeps his mind occupied a little bit.
It's clearly he's a Gator fan too. He's a Gator fan too. Shut up.
So, anyway.
Shut up. I think I saw something. I didn't click on it yet, but Travis Hunter and his wife, I guess, or girlfriend, have a tour of their home in Colorado, and it's like this huge mansion. He's got or somewhere. I don't know where the house is, but it's like Travis Hunter's home tour. And there's this huge mansion behind him. I'm like, wait, is that the college football player? I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't he? Dude's making $3 million a year.
He might be living with Dion. Who knows?
I think with the money he's making, I think he's got his own crib.
I'm sure he does. Crib. He might. Hey, he might even be living in Boulder. He might be living up in Aspen. I mean, he might
exactly.
He might keep on going to a little higher profile neighborhood.
Think about that right now. Think about back in the day. You had to live in these crappy dorm rooms. These dudes now can afford like a mansion. Like they can afford a real crib.
Well, listen, there are some of these guys that are making mid 6 figures, man. I mean, I talked to some coaches around college football, and what did it take to get him here or there? And some of these some of these guys that do not make it in the NFL are going to take tremendous pay cuts when they get out of college. I hope that these kids are smart enough to do the math and figure out that their chances of being in the NFL are not great, especially over a long period of time, and they will use this opportunity to save some money, put some money away, and prepare. But 90% of us, regardless of what we make, live off what we make every 2 weeks. So
that's right.
And we expect the 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid to be different. We're probably fooling ourselves.
I was making $3 million a year. I think I'd find a way to save a little, but I would maybe not. Maybe not. All right, partner. Great stuff as always. Tell everybody how they can get your content there at the Osceola and the Rivals Network.
Yeah, just go to theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com. They'll take you to the same place. We've got on our recruiting message board, we're kind of following the coaches around the state of Florida and Georgia and around the nation, really, to tell you who they are seeing. And then, of course, Kurt Weiler's got a interview with Mike on the clock rule changes and how it's limited in Florida State. Although I think that'll equal out over the course of the season. The clock will benefit you sometimes, won't others. Then we had an article on Trey Benson. He feels like they're going to be able to rediscover their running offense. They certainly should against Virginia Tech, who was way back in the hundreds.
Yes.
It gets a little bit tougher after that, but we got an article where Trey talks a little bit about that. And then we've got our daily practice reports from practice Tuesday and Wednesday. But go to theosceola.com or floridastate.rivals.com and check us out. We'd certainly appreciate it.
You got it, Pat. Great stuff, my man. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy some football.
Absolutely. Yeah. Deion's going to get his ass kicked again, so I'll definitely be tuning in for that.
Is that a good thing for college football, or is that I like
for Deion to get his ass handed to him?
Yeah,
it's good. It's good. It's good for him when he wins, and it's good when he loses. People are tuning in. Now, if we can only get Taylor Swift to date Jordan Travis or something,
right?
Switch Travises. Yeah.
Remember, she'll be there in New York on Sunday night.
Who cares?
The NFL cares, right?
I'm a Swiftie, but they're promoting this because she's going to be at the game, watching the game. Well, I certainly ain't tuning in for the Jets offense. That's for sure. I certainly ain't tuning in for that.
And maybe another blowout where you're talking about.
Well, how about this? When the Jets have the ball, can we get like a picture-in-picture? Can Taylor grab her guitar and entertain us while the Jets play offense? If she can do that, then I'll tune in. But just watching her in the box, chest bump dudes, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
banging on the glass, and the mom's like, "Act like you've been here before, Taylor."
Well, I haven't.
Right.
All right, quick break. When we come back, Samar Ali will join us from the Loose Cannons. He's a loose cannon. That's why they call it Loose Cannons, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't want to make any bold predictions here, but I bet he's going to say some disparaging things about the New Orleans Saints. Call me crazy. I don't know what the odds are.
What's wrong with that?
But I think he's going to probably drop an F-bomb or two on the New Orleans Saints. That's all. So if you want to stick around for that, which I think you should, we're going to do a quick break. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. My good friend Chris Lugo over there just referred another patient to him for some testosterone therapy, which you guys need. If you're not getting it, you need it probably. I guarantee it. Go get your blood work done and make an appointment at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and Chris will spend an hour plus going over your blood work to make sure you got the right supplements and your immune system is up and your testosterone is right and everything's working right. Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Football Friday as we get set for a huge weekend of college and pro football. No game bigger to me, and I'm sure our next guest, than the Buccaneers going into the very unfriendly and smelly and disgusting confines of the Superdome to play the New Orleans, Saints. Samar Ali from the Loose Cannons podcast joining us now, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys doing on this Fuck the Saints Friday?
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. Are you going to that shy hole?
First of all, if I wanted to go anything close to that, I could order Little Caesars right down the street, which I would never do. Two, absolutely not. Do you know how many Saints fans know my face? If I ever set foot in that city without security, not a pretty picture, especially with the amount of shit that I've been talking to these guys for years now.
Oh, I love it. So it's a lot at stake for you in a game like this. There's a lot at stake because if the Bucs lose this game, which, by the way, with the injuries that they have, I just got the Greg Allman injury update. You got that, Peter?
I do have that. Yeah, I sent it to you. But good news here. Carlton Davis, and again, this is according to Greg Allman of Fox Sports. Carlton Davis looks like a full go today. Vita Vea, Devin White also practicing. Bucs corner Jamel Dean is still not practicing, so he will almost certainly be ruled out for Sunday. Savasi Dennis just working on the side also will be out. No Derek Pitts also. And it looks like no Cansey. Why even risk it? Just let Cansey sit for the bye week here. Hopefully you can get him healthy for the second half of the run there. So that's the latest right there from Greg Allman of Fox Sports. So Carlton Davis, a full go, looks like.
It looks like Keenan Isaac will be elevated from the practice squad. Yikes. That guy couldn't cover a toothpick with a blanket.
I mean, that could just be special teams because, again, Pitts is not there, and I believe he is the special teams, gunner, corner /
True
guy.
that. True that. All right, yeah.
Listen, Carlton Davis playing is massive because now you have a number one corner that you can basically, if you want to, put him on Olave, put him on Rashid Shaheed. You can now have at least one half of the field comfortably taken care of on the defensive side, going against a team, by the way, that is not very good on offense. So, they have Olave and they have Kamara coming back, who hasn't been able to practice all season until this week. who's going to be rusty, and he's running behind a team that hasn't run the ball well. They haven't done anything well on offense. I mean, you're talking about 16 points in week 1 against the Titans, which they don't have a great defense.
No,
you have 20 points against a very good Carolina Panthers team, but that's mostly because they got the ball every single 3 and out that the Panthers punted back to them. So that was more because of volume, but they only gained like 270 yards passing again in that game. And then last week, 17 points in 3 quarters, getting shut out in the 4th quarter, losing 18 unanswered points.
One of them a special teams touchdown, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they only scored 10 points in that game. And they only had 175 yards passing. They did not look good. And
can we get Derek Carr back? I'm afraid. I'd rather have Derek Carr than James.
No. You've got to listen. This is kind of leading me up to my point. Is Derek Carr or not? This offense is not dynamic. It's not being called right. It's not being schematically put together right. They're the 25th scoring offense in the league, guys. They've given up 11 sacks. Now you bring in a Jameis Winston.
Their offensive line is not good.
Who I love from a Florida State perspective, but Jameis Winston is coming like Santa Claus. He's ready, all right? And you got a guy in Christian Ezian who is a ball hawk, reminds me a lot of a very young Rondé Barber.
Wow.
He's
the Rondé card.
He's very smart, but listen, he's in a slump. He's gone an entire game without an interception. And here comes Jameis Winston saying, hey, don't worry about that slump. I got you.
I got you
this week.
I got a bag full of interceptions on
Absolutely.
my back.
And Vita Vea playing only helps everything on the back end, and it helps him stop this. Again, I'm not worried about the
You're not worried about that really quick, dynamic, explosive receiver, Michael Thomas, that guy?
Slant boy.
Let me check the date. Oh yeah, it's not 2015, so I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think we could slide William Golston out there and play a little man-to-man on that guy.
Is he hurt yet by the chance? Because every time he gets out of bed, he's
I hope not.
I gotta interrupt here. Cam Jordan was asked at the rivalry between the Saints and the Bucs has gotten more intense. Y'all ask me that every time we have a divisional matchup. Is there a rivalry with the Bucs? I don't know about our only real rivalries with Atlanta, and that's not really a rivalry. Once again, Cam Jordan being disrespectful, Sammer. I just
listen.
He's gonna be a Hall of Famer, and I get it.
He's just mad that Donovan Smith isn't playing here anymore. That's all. Well, he's just pissed that
he's also pissed off because the Bucs passed on him because they had an opportunity to take him, and of course they took the greatness of Adrian Claiborne at the time, I believe.
It doesn't matter what he thinks. It will never be argued because it is fact that the one and the most important matchup that was ever had between these two teams, the Saints lost. And Drew Brees was sent retiring, and they threw it 3 interceptions, and they fell apart in their Superdome, their Little Caesars Pizza Dome, which always seems to have some sort of oven, burning the roof issue every couple weeks. So, I'm not he could talk all he wants. But he's right. It's not a rivalry because we won the most important matchup between the two teams. I'm sorry. You could have won all the regular season games between these two teams. The one that matters is the one that we won.
That's
right. So you know what? Pretend it didn't happen, Cam, because that's what the majority of their fan base does anyway. So not worried about it.
True.
Tristan Wirfs is his dad, just so everyone knows.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, they ain't no Donovan Smith anymore. Now you got to go up against the real man and Tristan Wirfs. Let's see how that goes, Cam. Yeah. They might move him around though to get him away from Wirfs.
Not worried about it. This game reminds me a lot of when the Bucs went to Minnesota week 1, going against a defense that's going to try to get after you, and they made the adjustments at halftime, got rid of the ball quicker. Look for Chris Godwin this game, guys. Look for Chris Godwin to emerge. He's going to be
Can we finally look for Chris Godwin? I had to bench him on my fantasy team this week because he just wasn't getting it done.
It's for 2 reasons. Mike's going to go up against what people consider to be his nemesis. Sometimes he wins. Sometimes Lattimore wins. Lattimore's playing extremely well this season. So Mike Evans is not going to be open every single play like he seems to have been so far this season, even against the Eagles.
And they're going to be down their number 2 corner.
Exactly.
Adebo. So, it's time for Chris Godwin to eat. Let's go.
Chris Godwin should have a good game. And Chris Godwin plays well in New Orleans. He loves that carpet. He loves playing in that dome.
Well, if they don't take cheap shots on his knee again, that would be nice. That was one of the cheapest shots I've ever seen in my life.
But they got rid of that guy. So, I look for Chris Godwin to be kind of the star of the show, the re-arrival of Chris Godwin, because they also talked about it in press conferences, and they're like, where has Chris Godwin been, yada, yada, and he's come up. So I expect that to be a focus on our side of things and also be kind of a forced focus because of the defense of the Saints kind of, being able to minimize what Mike Evans could do. But this is a different offense, so maybe it might get schemed open regardless. We'll see, but this is going to be fun to watch.
What do you think about that fun matchup, Sammer, with Evans versus Lattimore?
I don't think there's going to be a fight. I don't think there's going to be any shenanigans. Mike Evans, if you haven't noticed, has been very much about his business this season.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do many celebrations aside from when he came on the field to party with Shaq Barrett when he got that interception, pick six. There's a lot of emotions there, with his daughter and everything. Rest in peace. So that was different, but the majority of it, Mike Evans has been very ultra focused, and I highly doubt he's going to let somebody get in his mind and make him put another stain on this matchup between the two of them. And more importantly, going into this offseason, you don't want anything like that to come up. Like, hey, you cost your team this, a fine came up, you got suspended, you couldn't keep your head about you. Those things all don't work in a negotiation at the end of the season with the Bucs or elsewhere. So I think he'll be focused, and I think he'll be in his headspace and just kind of go out there and let his play do the talking, and let Lattimore talk all he wants.
Shammer, I'm a little concerned about this game because of the way our experienced players, our better players, did not play well against the Eagles. Mike dropping passes. Devin was, I got back on the Devin train because he said all the right things and did all the right things, and I'm pulling for him. And then last week, what the F was that?
He was
well.
hurt.
Then why is he on the field? If
Because
you're that hurt that you can't run
60%.
over, if you can't run over a quarterback who just gave you a pick six, if you're that hurt, you need to not be on, and you can't get off a block. Like, did not get off a single block all night long. He is the main reason that Swift is still running on our field. It was gaping holes. Most of them were his fault. And if he's that hurt, then it's Todd Bowles. Why is he out there? That's not.
Here's my thing, though.
Shaq Barrett, he loves Shaq. He offered the whole game and dropping out on 3rd and 10. I don't know what we're doing that
but
for.
JP,
come on.
You're talking about the best offensive line in football.
You're
talking about the most continuity in, like, they are so well connected to each other, these guys, that it doesn't matter. Like, they do this to every team they play, and the Bucs got out physical. And I think the Bucs may have been a little overly confident in what they could do. And like I said after the game, I said, you needed this ass kicking to an extent. Like, we thought we're this good. All right, this tells us we need to actually be this physical moving forward. And so now that kind of works out that we have a matchup against a team that's usually very physical and has out physicaled us a lot recently, except the last 3 matchups. And so now you go into that game thinking, let's be more physical. So it plays to the Bucs' advantage. If the Bucs would have beaten the Eagles, they were losing this game against the Saints. But because they lost to the Eagles and they still look like they belonged on that field with that team, they will go into this game with a little bit more oomph behind it, a little bit more focus on some simple stuff, the basics, and just being out there and just being physical, which is what you need against the Saints. And back to your point about Devin White, listen, I will take a 50 or 60% healthy Devin White over KJ Britt any day. I think part of that too is, like, first, it's a contract year for him. He's got to prove himself, and he is a competitor.
Well, that tape ain't helping him, bro.
I get it, but he was injured. So I find it hard pressed to give too much criticism to a guy who at least he went out there and fought with his guys.
All right, well then I'll put it on Todd Bowles.
I give that to credence, but Todd Bowles also has to trust what those medical guys tell him, and they're like, he's good. Well, can you go, Devin? You can go. I mean, you got to play the guys that will ultimately give you the best opportunity, and you have to trust what they tell you.
If I see in the first quarter that he can't get off a block and he can't run, he's coming out of the game, because you're hurting him, you're hurting your defense, you're hurting everybody. And I don't think this is where Todd, I think, has, and he's coached very well this year, and we've detailed that. But this is where Todd has a hard time. Sometimes guys that he really likes that aren't getting the job done, that need to be pulled, need to be fired, need to be something. You gotta have some asshole in you, and he just doesn't have a whole lot of asshole in him. He's too nice a guy. But sometimes you gotta take those guys off the field for their own good, for your team's good, for the betterment of, that's bad coaching.
I get it. But he still but he still made an interception. He still made a play.
Oh my God, bro! You could have made that interception. You threw
I
right
get
to
it.
him.
I'm just saying again. Todd Bowles has to.
You're gonna get honestly. He got a pick
has to.
and a negative mark on that play in my book. I don't know how you can get an interception, a turnover, and get a negative mark on that play. Like that's a fail play. You didn't run it. He threw it right to you. And when you ran down the sideline and it was right there, the quarterback, the truck, you walked out of bounds.
I get all that. Trust me.
And I don't even want to revisit his social media behavior in the offseason with the Eagles. I don't even want to connect the two. I don't want to even go there. I don't even want. Like I don't know if he picked up his phone on the sideline over there.
But JP, think about it.
Tweeted how much he liked the Eagles. I wasn't going to run over you. Don't worry.
But if he actually did something that was detrimental to the team and nobody on that team knew that he was injured or anything of that nature, they would have reacted much differently body language wise when he stepped out of bounds.
His teammates?
Yeah, they didn't overreact. They didn't say, why would you do that? Because he did have block. So you got to take some of that stuff for what it's worth. Like, we're not in the locker room. I mean, it's just, listen, and also, he's played great.
Then that's on Todd.
Up to that
then
point.
That's on Todd. What? He played great?
Well.
Son,
no, not last night. Up to that point, I'm saying. Up to the Eagles game,
the first two games. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I don't know how to criticize him in that game when he was playing injured because I don't know how.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been out there. Then that's on Bowles. That's on
Vito
Bowles.
Vito played through an injury as well.
Yeah,
it's
he didn't play very well. Yeah,
you're going against the Eagles, but again, the ass kicking helps because it's going into this week. You like to have your ass kicked before a big game where you got to be physical.
I'll buy into that.
These guys have pride. Just like the Broncos are hopefully not going to give up another 70 burger this week, right? I don't know.
Against Chicago, there's no way. Broncos should blow that game out, or it could be
like Dolphins score 70 again. That's what I want to know.
Right. Well, I'll tell you right now. All right, game day food. What are you eating on game day?
Anything but jambalaya? What are we talking about here? We're eating wings. We're not eating crawdaddies. I know that much. We're not eating any seafood. We're not having
the head.
We're not eating anything dipped in sewer water. I mean, we're not eating out of a toilet. I mean, what are we? Obviously, we're not listening to jazz. I know that much. And we're just.
Oh my God.
I'm having a Cuban. That's what we're doing, man. Just because, and we're watching the Bucs beat the living crap out of the Saints.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually committed to going to a New Orleans style restaurant on Saturday night. I might have to rethink that.
No, you can't do that, man. No, we got rules.
And
man.
even with a former and former Bucks PR, Maven Reggie Roberts too. So I'm going to have to remind him it's Saints week, Reg. We can't go to a New Orleans.
It's not Saints week, JP. It's fuck the Saints week.
Fuck the Saints.
Fuck this.
And I'm telling you right now, people in that building say those words. I'm telling you. Because I know people in that building say those words. Those guys do not like that team from the top down. From the top down, the players don't like that. Don't like those guys. This is a rivalry between the players. Whatever Cam Jordan tells you is he's full of shit. This stupid looking mustache and stupid goatee and all that garbage. Can't stand.
By the way, I just saw on Twitter that Taylor Swift has refused Fox's request to play her music during the game.
Why? Why is she doing that?
Business is business, bitch.
Such a stupid story. Such a stupid story. Such a stupid story.
This is why I threw it out there for Sammer just to get
such a stupid story.
Right?
I mean, I want to know if she's ever even watched a football game before she
No. And here's this. So now everybody's arguing on social media like we're dividing the sexes. Has Travis made Taylor Swift? I mean, is Taylor Swift now made Travis? Like nobody knew who Travis Kelce was before. Every woman on the planet saying that. We didn't even know who Travis Kelce was before. And now that she's dating Taylor, now he's actually somebody because Taylor Swift has graced her presence.
NFL fans know who he is, but I guess all these other non-NFL fans who
he's on every effing commercial.
He was on Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. But what's funny to me is that they scored other touchdowns in that game, and
a lot of them
didn't cheer, right? But then the second he gets a touchdown, she cheers, and I'm like, I get it, it's your guy or whatever, your boyfriend, not your boyfriend. I don't know what they're doing. But
she doesn't understand the teammate.
Why didn't you at least cheer for the rest? Like you didn't cheer for his teammates, his boys, his brothers. I mean, what are we doing here? And then his mom, you could tell, was kind of like, I don't love you all that much yet. I don't even know.
34-0. We don't cheer 40.
Massive cheer at the end of the game when it's like this game is easily in hand. What like you're acting like you won the Super Bowl, Taylor?
And let's just be honest. Mahomes gave him the garbage touchdown. He even said it after the game. I was like, yeah, I told him there's get open. I'll throw it to you. Yeah.
The whole storyline is just like, I get it from like People Magazine standpoint and TMZ and all that, but I don't need to hear about it on ESPN and on Fox and on NFL Network.
The first 20 minutes of the McAfee show.
What does that have anything to do with the game?
Literally, the first 20 minutes was nothing but Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on an NFL Monday, where we had, so many great games, so much to talk about. For the first 20 minutes, that's what they talked about. You don't think ESPN had anything to do with that, do you?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm a big Pat McAfee fan, though, so I get what he does. So most of his entertainment, but they're also friends with he's also really good friends with the Kelce brothers. So who knows?
Sell out.
Sell out. We'll see. I don't know, man.
Lots of money.
Hard to say no for that kind of money.
I'd sell out for that kind of money. That's ridiculous.
You can tattoo sell out on me for that amount of cash. That's fine.
I'm right there with you. Hey, but I got to take my shots where I can. All right, my friend. Tell everybody how they can get your great podcast. What's going on in Loose Cannons? And let's revisit the trip to Green Bay. We got any tickets left for that?
Oh yeah, we got space for Green Bay. And if you watched that game last night, they apparently have a lot of space in the stadium for us as well. Because apparently no one goes to those games from a Green Bay perspective. Not sure what's going on there. Yeah, I thought it was a home field advantage. I guess what's happening is that their season ticket holders are also selling their season passes to the visiting fans, like another team that.
I didn't even ask you about that. Wow. So what'd you think about that?
I think fans. I will say this because I already kind of went through this already twice this week. Half of people who are season ticket holders in this stadium are only doing it as a financial investment type of opportunity and have no intention of going to those games and are not fans of the team at all. And I think that the Bucs, if they cared, which they probably do not care because money is money, if they cared, they would do what the Lightning do, which is monitor how many times a specific seat is put on sale. And if it hits a certain number, you revoke their season passes. It's as easy as that. A little bit easier said than done when you're making sure you sell out and all that stuff. And
they did monitor it during the Brady years. I don't know how vigilant they are.
They did not. I sat next to a different person every single game. And I'm a season pass member. And I don't think I got to know anybody in the section I was in. So
that sucks.
Money's money, man. I agree. It used to be when we were younger, it was like you had your spot and you knew everybody there, and they kind of just became like, you had specific chants and game day rituals that would happen. Like I remember I was in a section one time where we had one of them had like this little kid, and he was the first down kid. He would run all the way down the stairs to the bottom of the area that we were sitting in, and he would do the first down thing. And he was the first down kid. Oh no, where's the first down kid? Where's the first down kid? Everyone knew in the whole section there was a first down kid. It's like little fucking
that's awesome.
9-year-old. And so none of that exists now because nobody is always there. It's not
no community, man. No sense of community anymore. It's all about let me get mine.
No pride. We talked about that the first of the show.
Yep. No pride. No pride anywhere.
I will give the Saints fans one thing, right? They are ride or die for their squad. That team could absolutely suck, and they were always going to be there. The Bears, same way. The Bears team is hot garbage every single season, and they are there. Detroit Lions, same thing. Hot garbage. They're always there. Like there's other fan bases that have had terrible products, but the fans still show up. And as far as I know, when I go to Lightning games against the New York Rangers, against the Flyers, teams that have had this history, the Boston Bruins, it's still never been a 50-50 affair when I'm in that stadium, in that arena.
It gets to maybe 30, but never 50-50.
Never 50-50.
And that's all. And that's always, for regular season games.
And think about it. If anyone would sell their tickets to a game, it would be a guy who owns like 8,000 tickets because the Lightning team plays
41 home games, right? 41 home games. Right.
You're not going to make realistically every single one of those games. So you're like, okay, I'm probably going to miss a couple. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do. So that makes more sense. But it's the complete opposite. The Bucs, who only have 8, like at the end of the season, I'm like, God, dude, we already got done with our home games. What did I miss?
Yeah, 8 games. That's all you got, man. 8 games. But my big thing, I said this earlier, is just the economy's so bad right now, man. People are just really, really hurting. And if you could pay for half your season ticket by selling one ticket, and here's the other thing that really pisses me off because it's the snowball effect. is that there's probably a ton of season ticket holders that want to go to the game, but they say to themselves, you know what? I know all the rest of the people around me are selling. So I'm going to be the only one that's wearing Bucks gear, surrounded by a lot of jackass, a-hole Philly fans. And I'm not going to get my money. That's hard. That's hard to swallow. I can't look a guy in the eye and go, no,
Listen,
dude, don't sell. I mean, that's hard.
But if you can't afford your season tickets and you need to try to make the money back, don't buy the fucking season tickets, man. It's not that difficult.
That's
Just
a good
don't
point.
buy the season tickets.
That's a good point.
Man, I really want this Mercedes, but I can't afford that payment. Let me see if I can sell drugs on the side to make up for it. Just don't buy the fucking Mercedes. Like, what are we talking about?
Or just sell the drugs.
Or become a drug dealer first, and then you can afford the Mercedes. Do it the right way. If you're going to do
and
it,
your
do
season
it.
tickets. Yes. So if we've learned anything today, it's like become a drug dealer so you can afford your season tickets and your Mercedes.
You know,
that's
hey,
what
if
we're
you sell
saying.
Drugs
Here
the
at
right,
the
if
JP
you
Peterson
get good at it, you can afford box.
Well, the
okay?
government does it now. The government does
Scarface. That's what I'm hearing. Right.
Speaking of which, if you're in Sarasota or Bradenton, come on down to Desert Wind Smoke Shop, 6222 14th
There you
Street
go.
West. Absolutely. I got everything you guys need. And also for the Loose Cannons, youtube.com/at Loose Cannons podcast. We talk Bucks, food, ridiculous shenanigans. We talk a lot about Johnson's in the slot, tight Johnson's, and obviously baby oil. And if you want to travel with us to Green Bay, which is where all this conversation originated from,
right? Yeah, we did.
We are going to Green Bay. VIP experience, 3 or 2 nights with us in the VIP hotel, the same hotel the Bucks will be staying at. You could accidentally get stuck, like literally get stuck in an elevator with Vita Vea, or you could be hanging out with Mike Evans at the bar. Who knows? Hopefully not. But we'll be staying at a VIP hotel. That's all included. You also get a VIP party on Saturday night with us, and who knows who may show up. Last year in Dallas, we had Jason Light, we had Warren Sapp, hanging out with Spytech, having wings, talking ball, talking shop. It was awesome. It was awesome, and it's all private, so you really get to have a little bit of a personal, experience with those guys. And then obviously we got a Sunday morning all-included tailgate. Then we walk across the street, lower bowl seats in Lambeau, the frozen tundra a week before Christmas. This is a great
bucket
Christmas
list,
gift.
baby. Bucket
Great
list.
Christmas gift. Check off the bucket list. Make your spouse, girlfriend, whoever happy, your child, your father.
By leaving town and not coming back.
Christmas gift. I mean, it's an awesome Christmas gift. It's awesome. And hey, the Packers suck. So hey, we're gonna have fun at this game.
Yes,
freeze our ass off, but it's gonna be fun.
Yes,
so all of that's
gonna
included.
be a chance to punch your ticket to the playoffs.
All
of it's included.
Wow! Green Bay sucks.
There you go. All right, Sammer, great stuff as always. Go chat about your Johnsons and with the baby oil. Have fun.
Hell yeah, go Bucks.
Let's go. Fuck the Saints. Yes. All right, give me a Ryder Cup. I love that guy. He's hilarious.
Yeah, yes. He's
a
great.
Ryder Cup update. Oh God. Spieth. What the? They were 2 up, and they gave it back on 15 and 16 and have the match.
We got a quick call here. Somebody wants to talk about their pick last night.
Oh God, it's got to be Harry the Greek.
Let's go out to Harry the Greek. Harry, welcome to the JP Peterson Show.
Forgive me, guys, but I just turned the show on and I heard something about Patton Johnson's and baby oil. I was like, man, I got to join this conversation.
There you go. Jump on in.
Who's got the baby oil? I'll tell you who's got the baby oil, JP. I do, because last night's game, what a terrific game that was.
Sorry, I'm checking in on the Ryder Cup here. We're at a critical juncture.
Well, you were right about that because they were up 27-3. They did let the Packers get back in the game, but I was surprised at how good that defense was last night and how bad and awful that Packer offensive line was.
No, it really was, and I made that comment. I'll tell you what, Detroit's improving every single week. This team seems to be getting better, and better. JP got a question. Do you think that's the sleeper team in the NFC? I'm not saying they're going off the way, but do you think?
I love the Lions. I've loved them all year long. Brad Holmes, the pride of Chamberlain High School, their GM, has done a hell of a job rebuilding that team, losing Matthew Stafford, but restocking the team. I mean, who's done a better job than he has? That team's. I love they're well coached with Matt Campbell. I had him last night, as you did. And they're a good football team. They're a really, really good football team. They can run the football. Goff has improved tremendously. Now they got some dogs on defense. Why not Detroit?
Yeah, and that's who the Bucs will face in a couple of weeks there at Raymond James Stadium for that creamsicle throwback game. But you're exactly right, and I feel bad for Bears fans because you let go of David Montgomery, and he's been the answer for the Lions, and they mix him around with Jamar Gibbs from Alabama, the number 1 pick. So
they didn't need David Montgomery. He didn't fit into the scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. That's what they're going to say about Justin Fields. I can understand it. That's what they said about Mitch Trubisky. That's what they said about all different kind of things. But that's for another story and another time. Gentlemen, I know it's getting time to close. And I just, I had to call in because I was hearing something about Baby All and Johnson's, and I never wanted to serve a man with Baby All.
You just wanted to get a pat on your back for your Lions pick after your bad Bucs pick the weekend before.
I don't care about that. That's right. It was a bad pick last week, but you know what, JP? That's why the Greek takes vacations to the island at least 3 times a year, because I know how to pick them. My brother picked himself a great one. It's a happy football Saturday and a Sunday. You guys have fun talking about your Johnson. I'm out.
All right. It's a big Johnson. I got you, Johnson.
Koepka and Scheffler just lost 18 to have the match and lose a half. And now we're gonna finish day 1 down 6-2. Like we're two up with 2 to go. Unless Homa and Clark choke it on the way in, which is completely. I started this horrific show today talking about this, why the USA sucks. We don't do anything well anymore, man. We don't do anything well anymore.
We talked about that with the fan support too. I mean, it's all
about everybody wants. It's all about yourself. Nobody cares about community anymore. And these guys were more about, I'll stay home for the month before the Ryder Cup, and we'll get there, play a few holes beforehand. Meanwhile, the Ryder Cup guy, the European team's grinding all the way. Everybody played last week. They all finished, 7 of them finished in the top 10. They're playing their way into it. They're excited about the Ryder Cup. Our guys are like, it's a trip to Rome. It'll be fun. We'll go to the Amalfi Coast, hang out on a private yacht, play a little golf. We win, we lose, whatever. We still, peace.
What's another 30 years, right? We're going to read
Get
this.
Your ass handed to you. Embarrassment. No wonder they didn't want the Netflix cameras there, because they knew they were going to get their ass kicked.
Let's see. Let's talk about Taylor Swift or Joe Biden. Pick your poison. Laugh out loud.
Neither. About Taylor Swift, actually. All right, that'll do it for us here on a F the Saints Friday. Hope you guys had a good time, as I did. Have a great weekend. I know my man Peter will be doing a post-game show on Sunday. I may or may not join you on that. Okay. We shall see, depending on my level of frustration and animosity, and my golf game. Okay. So we'll have a great weekend. Go Bucks, go Rays this weekend. We'll be talking some baseball on Monday, and we will see you then.